Sir, good afternoon, Professor R.C. Patel, sir. Good afternoon, sir. You are co-host now.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Professor Brenda, ma'am, are you ready?
Hello.
Ma'am, are you ready, ma'am?
Hello, I can't hear you, Dr. Amar.
Ma'am, is it audible, ma'am?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible, ma'am. You are audible. Ma'am, good afternoon, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am.
Cannot hear.
Ma'am, is it audible for? But you are audible to us, ma'am.
No, you are audible.
Sir, chief guest is trying to join. We will wait only for 2 minutes, sir.
Hello, Dr. Amar. Dr. Amar. I can't hear you from here. What to do? Huh? Hello? Yeah, I logged out. Okay.
Sir, Professor Bhagirath Panda, sir, good afternoon, sir. Professor R.C. Patel, sir, and joined, sir. Sir, now you are co-host, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah.
Sir, welcome, sir. Sir, we are Professor Chirapat Prabandha Vidya, sir, from Thailand. He's trying to join, sir. We'll wait only for 3 minutes, sir.
Okay, that's nice.
Dr. Amar,
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Sir, yes, ma'am. Sir,
can you hear me now?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sir, Professor Chirapat, sir.
Sir,
Good
Professor
afternoon,
Chirapat,
sir.
sir. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir, you are audible now, sir.
Sir, you are audible now, sir.
So now I am requesting Professor Karbi Rimbai, ma'am, to give welcome address.
Welcome.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible,
Yes,
ma'am. You
ma'am,
are
you
audible.
are audible, ma'am. You are audible.
Okay. So a very good afternoon to everyone. I feel deeply honored and privileged to be a part of this 21 days international workshop come FDP on innovative techniques for professional development of teachers in higher education, starting from the 1st, that is today, to the 21st of September 2021. And this is being organized by the Department of Education, NEHU, Shillong, and the Department of Philosophy, Moran College,
Professor
MORANHAT,
Binda,
ASSAM.
we cannot hear you.
Binda, we cannot hear you.
Sundar, ma'am, it is audible to all.
It is audible to all.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Kumno, so era.
Okay, okay. Well, I would like to say that innovation is a part of our lives. And this theme on innovative techniques for professional development of teachers in higher education is very important. And I feel that in education, we know also in education, a lot of innovative techniques are there, which we are using now at present, especially with this time of pandemic. So globally, we know that many kind of innovative techniques have been developed so far. So for many decades, in fact, we have been using textbooks and the traditional method of instruction. But with the emergence of so many necessities now with this pandemic and many other necessities related with it, we have come up with so many ideas and methods which we are adopting as teachers. So therefore, teachers actually need to be professionally trained also. So many research works have come up recently, which have been focused on the advancing and improving of the existing learning methods, as well as introducing and experimenting new teaching styles. So now there are many types of techniques which have come up. I'll be just mentioning a few, like the competency-based education. This also can lead to a lot of innovations by technology. We try to personalize the students' navigation by mastering certain kind of content. Then there is also the video streaming, flipped classroom, e-learning trends. This is the in thing now, which a lot of researches is being done also, especially on flipped classroom. Then the open curriculum, which is also very widely accepted world over, especially in the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the open courseware, which has been accepted, and till now it has not been disrupted in any way. They are successfully using it. MOOCs, the idea of MOOCs have come from there only. Then the faculty collaboration, this is also very important because now we have digital networks of information, which is making access to data and areas of specialty, and particularly in the scientific fields. Therefore, researchers no longer need to be in the same physical location to collaborate. And this will change and reduce the attractiveness of many universities for expert faculty. And then we also have many innovative solutions which have been developed in terms of technology, which is reducing the cost and shifting revenues. And there is many effective programs have been delivered because of the new technologies and models which have been developed. Then the digital textbooks are also there, which is the in thing now. A lot of innovation is taking place here because we no longer rely on the hard copy. Thousands of digital textbooks can be stored in our mobiles. which we can easily retrieve whenever we want to. Then the 3D printing, which is also the in thing now. We can have a 3D image of a particular picture, you know, especially in science or mathematics or any field, which is very, very competency based. And then we're using a lot of data analytics nowadays. This is again the in thing, very, very innovative. Data analytics has been a part of also humanities. It's not that it is meant only for mathematics and science, it's also been a part of humanities now. Then we also have another innovation which is coming up, that is the free tuition, which means, you know, we don't actually need to spend money from our pocket to get education now. Mostly we can see a lot of free innovative programs are available online. Then we also have the virtual and augmented reality, which is a huge innovation in the field of science, and now coming in the world of education. We are using augmented reality with teachers teaching, so that you actually see the form of a teacher teaching you, but the teacher is not actually there in the classroom. Then we have the smarter learning management system. Then the artificial intelligence, the AI is actually earlier we were talking that it would be a future, but now AI is a part of our lives. And in many ways, you can see, especially in gaming, curriculum, we are trying to put the gaming techniques in the curriculum where AI is being used. The new kind of certification and degrees are coming up quickly. We are getting certificates and degrees now with this new types of innovation and techniques with the new technology coming up. Then we have the new pedagogies, which are also there. And this new pedagogy is absolutely, you know, the in thing now, because a lot of researchers are relying on this new kind of teaching and learning, especially because it has become an alternative to the lecture method, which we were traditionally having it for long time. In fact, ages, we were relying on this traditional method of technology. So things are changing a lot, and I'm very happy that this type of curriculum, this type of international workshop come FDP is being taken up. So on this, in this matter, I would like to welcome, first of all, Professor C. Nongbri, who is the president of the program, Dean School of Education, NEHU Shillong, and she has kindly consented to be a part of the program. So I'm really, really grateful to Professor C. Nongbri to be a part of the program and who's going to deliver the presidential address. And I would like to welcome Professor Chirapat Prapandaya Vidya from Silpakron University, Thailand, who is the chief guest of the program. In fact, we are really privileged to have you, sir, in this program, and we will be waiting for your for you to deliver the chief guest address from you. I'm also very privileged to welcome Professor B.P. Panda from ICSSR-NERC NEHU Shillong, who is the guest of honor in this program. Welcome, sir, to the program. And Professor S.M. Sungo, Department of Education, NEHU Shillong, who's our very own senior professor in this department, and who's very, very important personality and dignitary in the entire university and plus this program. And she will be delivering her keynote address, which we are eagerly waiting to hear. Welcome, ma'am, to the program. And I would like to welcome Professor R.C. Patel, MSU, Vadodara, India, who's also very well known to our department and the university, who's a special guest here in this program. Very, very welcome to you, sir, in this program. And I would like to welcome Professor Mitali Konwar, who's the principal of Moran College. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am, to this program. And also Dr. Shutashwini Gogoi and Dr. N.A. Reddy, who are the coordinators of the program. And I think they are going to coordinate the program with a lot of inputs, especially with, you know, incorporating a lot of resource persons from different fields and areas. So lastly, I would also like to welcome all the participants to this program. I know you will be very, very much benefited with the wonderful deliberation in this 21 days workshop with all the resource persons. And I wish you all the best and thank you from my side.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful welcome
Thank you
address
for
and
wonderful
heart-touching.
welcome address, heart-touching.
Right.
Right.
It is,
It is.
ma'am, is the resound is coming or what?
Dr. Amar, actually, there is some echo actually in your system. There is some echo in your
Yes.
system. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You logged in from two systems.
No, no, sir. I will do one thing, sir. Actually, now is it okay, sir?
I think a little better, but then still the echo is hard. Continue, let's see.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So this is time to share about the program, a 21-day international workshop come faculty development program on innovative techniques for professional development of teachers in higher education. Actually, when I met Professor Bhagirath Panda sir during walking time, sir expressed we want to do something for the benefit of the academia in NEHU and the whole nation on NEP 2020 by keeping NEP 2020. And sir really motivated me because sir is the man behind this program. Without sir help, we are not unable to offer this program. And one more thing, NEP 2020 stressed multiple entry and multiple exits. Here, we plan to give benefit for maximum those who are students, scholars, and the teachers. That is why we put a workshop come FDP. Students will get everyday day-wise international workshop certificate. Those who want to do 7-day, 1-week workshop, student and scholars, they can exit on the 8th day. Those who need 14 days, 15th day, they can exit. 21 days whole program. For students and scholars, we are going to offer workshop certificates and teachers faculty development certificate. Here, I completed till date more than 410 MOOC courses. I'm sharing with the Professor Bhagirath Panda sir during morning walking time. Every day we meet every day and we'll chit chat about the progress of university. So the blended learning, people learning, innovative, qualitative, quantitative, mixed method approaches from even learning, teaching, research, extension, and project. Everything sir asked me to select diversified resource persons from India and abroad. And we are very fortunate, Professor Cherapat Prabandha Vidya sir, as a chief guest. Sir is 82 years old. I'm now, without taking time, I'm going to invite, so you can understand how much information you will get, innovative techniques you are going to get on upcoming 20 days, including today. So now, without wasting time, I'm requesting Professor Dr. Swataswini Gogoi, ma'am, Coordinator, Department of Philosophy, Moran College, CHARAIDEO, Assam, to welcome Professor Cherapat sir and inform about a brief introduction about the Professor Cherapat sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving me this opportunity to introduce you. So I want to share a screen.
You can share, ma'am. You can share.
Is it visible, sir?
It will take some time, ma'am. It is not visible right now.
Okay. Then I will continue by myself like this.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
So good afternoon, everyone present here today. I extend a warm welcome to everyone here for joining this 21-day international workshop come faculty development program from 1st September to 21st September 2021. Today on this inaugural session, we have invited a special person as a chief guest who was very kind enough to accept our invitation in spite of his busy schedule. And actually he is the legendary scholar of Thailand, Professor Sirapat Prabandha Vidya sir from Silpakan University, Thailand. Sir has long 35 years of research experience and big contribution towards the world of knowledge.
Ma'am, increase your volume, ma'am. Please increase your volume. It is very low.
Okay, I'm increasing. So, sir is the legendary scholar of Thailand. So, sir he is presently advisor to Sanskrit Studies Center Faculty of Archaeology, Silpakan University, Bangkok. He is the fellow of Royal Society of Thailand, president of Thai Bharat Cultural Lodge Association, and president of Sanskrit Studies Foundation. He has been re-employed by Silpakan University as a distinguished knowledgeable person since his retirement in 2001. Earlier, he held several important positions, such as being the head of the Department of Oriental Languages, Faculty of Archaeology, Silpakan University, Director of Sanskrit Study Center, Silpakan University. He has been awarded honorary directorate degree from Mahasulanankan Mahavidyalaya, University, Bangkok in 2010. And he got Vidya Basaspati Dilit degree from Rashtriya Sanskrit Sansthan, New Delhi in 2012. Honorary Directorate degree from Mohamukutta Raja Vidyalaya, Buddhist University, Bangkok in 2014. And he achieved Presidential Award of the Certificate of Honor in Sanskrit International for the year 2017 in New Delhi. Professor Prabandha Vidyasar was the first to concede both post-graduation and PhD award in Sanskrit in Thailand. He has achieved Histology of Indian Scholars. He is a member of various academic committees of the Royal Society of Thailand, committees for preparing a dictionary on Tripitaka, Committee for preparing vocabulary of old Thai words, Committee for studies of ancient Thai law, and one of the members of the Committee for preparing proper names in the world religions, and responsible for Brahmanism and Hinduism. He was the translator of the chapter 7 of the book entitled The Wonder That Was India. And again, he has successfully completed many research projects. Among those, following the footsteps of Lord Rama in Thailand with his team, along with his team, he has authored many books, and he has successfully edited Re-Examination of Sanskrit and Pali Inscription of Southeast Asia, Volume 1. He was the chairperson of the 16th World Sanskrit Conference in Bangkok in 2015. He has presented many research papers in prestigious conferences held in Bali, Jakarta, Japan, Ireland, India, etc. He has published a big number of research papers in prestigious journals and books on religions, linguistics, and artistic history of Thailand and its links with India. On behalf of everyone, we feel very lucky to have you with us today, sir. Sir, I am requesting you to deliver your address, the chief guest address. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Professor Swasini Gogoi, Professor Narakanti Amoreswara Reddy, dignitaries, Professor, participants, ladies and gentlemen. I'm much honored to be invited to join this academic webinar. Since I was notified just 2 days back, so I am actually unprepared for the paper related to the subject to be discussed in this webinar. So please allow me to speak only about the subject which are of interest to me. Actually, the people of Thailand and the people of Assam are ethnically very close, and they appear in history. Am I audible?
Sir, you are audible, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yeah. Actually, the people of Thailand and the people of Assam are ethnically very close, and they appear in history almost at relatively close period. The Thai of Thailand, known originally as Siam, appeared in Southeast Asia in 11th century. The word Siam is probably related to Ahom and Shan. The Thai established the first kingdom known as Sukhothai in early 13th century, the same period when King Surakafa established a home kingdom in the northeastern part of India. The Thai of early Sukhothai believed in Mahayana Buddhism and also Brahmanism of both Vaishnavism and Shaivism. Later on, the Thai of Thailand accepted Buddhism of Sri Lanka in Sukhothai period, which was the Theravada sect, which lasts until today. The people who inhabited the land before the advent of the Thai were Mons and Khmer. The former believed in early form of Buddhism. The latter believed in Mahayana Buddhism and Brahmanism. Majority of Thai people are Buddhist, but they also observe some festival which belong to Brahmanism or Hinduism, such as Sankranti, Loi Krathong, or the floating of flower on the river, Shraddha, and so on. The difference between the Thai of Sukhothai or of Thailand and the Ahom is that the former accepted Buddhism, but the latter accepted Vaishnavism of Hinduism. But from the point of view of religion, the Thai of Thailand and the Thai of Ahom may have some similarity because before we accept both Buddhism and Hinduism, we must have some animistic belief. So the Ahom people and the Thai people of Thailand may do some research in collaboration with each other in the field that we have something in common. So I have nothing more to say, only wish that the workshop in education be successful, and it will also be a guideline for some other university, not only in India, but also in Thailand. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much for your brief chief guest address, sir. Actually, here the participants are all type of students, scholars, and teachers. And Professor Bhagirath Panda, sir, actually doing a great job. 2 years back, sir sent 40 students to Japan, sir.
Oh.
So, sir, yes, sir. For international collaboration and cultural exchange program, the embassy of Japan, sir is utilizing whatever his academic network. So we are requesting, even with the help of you, for Northeastern Hill University students and scholars, if any such type of, especially for Indian scholars and students, cultural exchange programs, we are very grateful to you, sir.
So I hope that there should be more cultural exchange between northeast of India and Thailand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Professor Bhagirath Panda sir is doing his best and always motivating us. Sir is the honorary director for Indian Council for Social Science Research, ICSSR-NERC, sir. Northeast Region Center, sir.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Namaskar. Namaskar.
No, sir.
Thank you
Now,
so much, sir.
it is my honor, my privilege and a pleasure to invite Professor Bhagirath Panda sir, Honorary Director ICSSR. Sir is a former Dean, School of Economics, Management and Information Science. Sir is an international scholar also and actively participating in so many activities. It takes more time to give introduction about Professor Bhagirath Panda sir. So sir is always goal oriented. So without wasting time, I am requesting Professor Bhagirath Panda sir to deliver his guest of honor address. Please, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amar. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir. You are audible, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Dr. Amar and Professor Brinda, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak a few words on this very important FDP, Faculty Development Program, that is Innovative Techniques for Professional Development of Teachers in Higher Education. I think Professor Nangri, the president of this FDP program, Professor Sungo, I think the keynote speaker, Professor Chiriat, I think our chief guest of this afternoon, I think Professor Patel and Professor Kanwar, and all the distinguished guest participants, faculty members, research scholars, ladies and gentlemen present here itself. Amar, it's 10 minutes time for me, no? So this is 2:35. Let me 2:45. I know. I think okay. I'll try in 10 minutes of time. Let me just divide my lecture into 2-3 parts briefly. One is why there is an imperative or a necessity for a professional development of faculties in universities and colleges, or in higher education, as we call it. As you all see, I think there are a good number of reasons for that, but then I will be speaking on 1 or 2 just to highlight here itself because of the paucity of time. One is, we are moving from a system of or a situation of internationalization of education to globalization of higher education. When I say internationalization to globalization, it specifically means that we had some kind of internationalization of education in terms of cultural exchange programs, but then that was in a very limited scale. Today, we are moving to globalization of higher education, and there are various reasons for this. There is an economic rationale, there is the spirit of competition, and there is this very arrival of the knowledge economy, and then this revolution in technology. So there are a good number of reasons for which globalization of higher education has become important, and there is no escape from that. And I think countries which can take it as an opportunity are going to get rich dividends in days to come. In fact, if you look at the very progression at the world level, at one point of time, I think it was Europe, then United States of America, then Australia. These are the countries actually, I think they have already moved from the manufacturing, manufacturing kind of dominant activities to service sector, I think, economy. And in the service sector also, they are doing a lot of diversification. I think, from the traditional kind of services, financial, tourism, etc. They are moving to also, I think, benchmark what you call education as a service, and then on revenues. And that's what exactly the United States of America is doing. And very recently, the Chinese are very aggressively doing that. So there is a rationale for, I think, professional development in our teachers in higher education. And countries like India, for example, how can it be far behind actually? The moment you think of having a global role and to become a global power, I think in addition to become an economic power or a military power or, for example, a democratic power, you also need to, I think, become an educational power. So in the context of that kind of a rationale, what I feel it's time for India to professionally develop its faculty members and its educational system. So that's why faculty development program is very, very important. And then the other thing which I need to tell here itself, share with all of you, is that this, and like today we are emphasizing on continuous faculty development, which is, it's not actually incremental kind of a thing. It should be a seamless, continuous kind of a affair. So that's why it's more, I think, with respect to I think faculty development in a seamless manner, in a continuous manner. So that's why continuous or continuing capacity building program for the faculty is very, very essential. Having said that, actually, if we look at the, when we contextualize this CPD with the changing prototypes, just to give you a background, what we find actually, there is a kind of a progression from the old system to the new system. For example, in the old arrangement, I think the education, the teaching, it was teaching, and that was much, I think, teacher centric. So it was teaching, but in the new arrangement, we are now talking about learning. Then in the old system, it was teacher. In the new system, we call the teacher as a mentor. We call it more as a mentor. Then in the old system, it was a student. Today, we call him or her as a learner. Then in the old system, it was like passive attendance from both the sides, and now it's all about active attendance. Then earlier system, the old system, providing reading materials was important for the teachers, but in the new system, it's more about mapping the learning outcomes of the students. And then in the old system, it was all about I think it was all about getting the knowledge from the teacher himself or herself. Now it's all about experiential teaching. It's all about learning by doing, which is more important in the new system. And then in the old system, it was one-time learning, and today it's all about lifelong learning through skill upgradation. So this is the changing type of changing prototype that we are experiencing, and in the context of this what you call CPD. Then when we just look at the Indian situation, with respect to moving towards a professionally trained faculty members in higher education and continuously go on adding to it. Then what we see, some of these initiatives very recently that Government of India and the state governments have together taken up. I think we started with that Madan Mohan Mallavya National Mission for Teachers and Teaching. And under that, actually, this TLC program in different universities and higher education, they are all started in different disciplines. Then came, I think, the choice-based credit system, CBCS as we call it, in 2015. Then very recently, I think we are into, what we call, for example, SWAYAM and the MOOCs arrangement under the SWAYAM platform. And then very recently, I think, which is going to bring a very fundamental change when it comes to the teaching landscape. And for that matter, I think the professional development of teachers happens to be the new education policy 202 of Government of India. So these are some of these, I think some of the initiatives which have been recently taken by government so as to change, I think, to make the whole educational arrangement much more professional, and within that to make the teachers more professional and contribute seamlessly to their professional development. Now, in the context of that, let me bring in, I think, two of the important dimensions of higher education. One is teaching, the other one is research. Many of the, I think, innovations, or for that matter, the innovative techniques which have come up, they're applicable both for teaching and also research. Let me start with, I think, Professor Brinda has given a very good, I think, analysis of the different kind of methods and techniques which are coming up and which would going to, in fact, improve the professional development of our teachers in higher education. I would be just briefly sharing some of them, maybe at the cost of repetition. For example, a very conventional one, which of course for a long time we have been doing it, happens to be ICT, but then there is a need to scale it up. So ICT is one. Then evidence-based kind of a teaching and research. This is very, very important. Why I say this? When it comes to research particularly, because I'm dealing with a research institution, there is a time, we are in a time wherein I feel very aggressively, very poignantly, that we need to keep our education and research free from any kind of ideological increasement. And that's why actually evidence-based teaching and research comes to play a role. Look at the countries all around us. I think I know all across the world and also all around us. Maybe for example, look at Japan, look at China. These are countries which are nearby, or for that matter, United States of America, or even the European countries. I think most of them, when it has come to promotion of teaching and the skill upgradation, and for that matter, research, they have tried to keep to the extent possible, particularly Japan, China, and many of the Southeast Asian countries. They have tried to keep their research and the educational landscape mostly free from any kind of extreme ideological caging or imprisonment. I think that's one of the requirement. I think if we want to professionally develop our teachers and the educational landscape for that matter. Then the other thing which I would like to emphasize upon, which in fact is going to be an important imperative of professional development of teachers in higher education, is all about that connect, bringing back that connect between theory and empirics. This is one area I think where many times in many of the educational institutions, higher educational institutions in our country, we have not been able to realize and bring that kind of a connect. Let me start giving an example from my own practical experience on one of the development practice that I did work extensively for almost 6 years, starting from 2007 to 2014. That's called MEGHALAYA, the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme and the Act. Now, just to give a simple example which can explain the importance of bringing the connect, the synergy between theory and practice, or theory and empirics. Now, in social science, we teach our students a theory, a hypothesis called the capability improvement hypothesis of Amartya Sen. Capability improvement hypothesis of Amartya Sen. Now, we teach it to the students in the classroom, mostly as a theory or as a hypothesis. But then, I think that's only one-dimensional kind of a thing. This becomes this kind of a teaching, and in fact, if I use the word learning these days, the learning will be complete if we can establish the relationship, the connectedness between Amartya Sen's theory of capability expansion of individuals and communities, and then its practical application in terms of programs and policies. In fact, when we were trying to I think develop this MEGHALAYA in terms of the different guidelines as a development practice, initially the kind of thought that came from the bureaucrats was basically to consider it as a typical what you call employment and income generation program in the rural areas of the country, India. But then subsequently, when academicians like John Reyes and others came in, and I was fortunate to be a part of that kind of that kind of a team, of that team. Then what we tried to impress upon the then bureaucrats, and they are very patiently listened, and they tried and brought in all kinds of guidelines to incorporate that kind of an understanding, which is all about I think trying to recast the whole MEGHALAYA program in the framework of Amartya Sen's thesis of capability expansion of communities and individuals. And that's the reason for which, if you see, look at MEGHALAYA as a development practice, what you see there itself, the works that are initially permitted, they're basically to promote the natural rural base of the economy of the country. Then there's participation, for example. The scheme believed in participation. Its development is it's not all about actually what you realize. It's all about actually how to get it through. And there comes the role of empowerment and participation. That's why all those arrangements which are there in MGNRG, like for example, collect the village employment committee or village vigilance committee, then ombudsmanship, then I think social audit. So these newer and newer arrangements were brought into MGNRGA in order to see that the social sustainability part is taken care of, in the scheme. Then similarly, so what I wanted to tell you, in addition to income generation, as a program or employment generation, the other dimensions of sustainable development, like for example, improving the environmental base, improving the empowerment aspect, giving a feeling to the participation aspect, in development process. So all these things were all brought in, I think, and they're all brought in, I think, the framework of sense theory of capability expansion. So that's the connect between. So when I, for example, when I teach in the class to our students, let's say this sense theory, it would always be better if I, involve the students and give them some kind of a project insight that how lot of developmental practices, like example MGNRGA, and so also NRL, and many more for that matter in the country like India, how they have been modeled, how many of them have been in fact actually brought in, and can be analyzed in the framework of many of the developmental theories that celebrated economists or developmental practice or social scientists they have given. And that becomes, then the subject becomes much more interesting. So that's why one important imperative of professional development of teachers in days to come will be to establish in the teaching learning process to bring in the connect between theory and empirics or theory and practice. Then as Professor Brinda was giving a very extensive manner, a lot of I think multimedia technologies starting from the simplest PowerPoint presentation to educational videos, then NPTEL video lectures, and then SWAYAM and MOOC, etc. They will all going to be scaled up in days to come and will be much more intensively used in order to develop the professional competence of teachers, and as a result of which it will be a benefit for the students. Then the other one, I think Professor Binda was also hinting at, was role playing, for example, and the method of role playing, the techniques of role playing, which is very, very useful, I think, in humanities, in particularly literature. And also, I think the same thing can also be done even in my own subject, like economics, for example. When we teach them the development practice, then we can easily actually ask the whole class to play a role. For example, someone can become an evaluator, someone can become a researcher, and then divide the whole class actually into different groups and elicit some kind of information about programs and policies, and there and then he or she can analyze and give the result. Whether that particularly, I would say, to establish the connect between theory and empirics or practice. So role playing can also be used very extensively, as a tool or as a method, in order to improve the professional competence of teachers. Then lastly, let me share one or two words, sentences for that matter. When it comes to research particularly, I think the starting point of research for any researcher happens to be that more into social science. So why in social science research should be undertaken? There are various reasons. Of course, there are some modern reasons. For example, getting a PhD, that's an academic program and an academic degree. That's of course there. But more than that, actually, social science, I think researchers or faculty members, they do undertake research in order to, I think, to understand the social situation, and more so the social process. It's more about understanding the social process, which happens to be an interplay of different kind of forces in the society: economic, political, social, cultural, etc. So to understand more that the social development as a process, I think more of research in social sciences is required. Similarly, I think for professional development of our faculty members, they need to know also what are the other reasons for which actually research in social science is going to be very, very important. For example, in addition to this, getting this connect between theory and empirics, if you look at the whole world situation today, there is a revival of developmentalism all across the world. Wherein actually, look at the world institutions. At one point of time during the 80s, we thought developmentalism is taking a beating and is going to disappear in days to come under the umbrella of neoliberal economic policies, I think subscribed by Thatcherism and for that matter Reaganomics. But then that hasn't happened. Post 1990, we have seen a revival of developmentalism, basically because of the works of celebrated economists like Amartya Sen and Mehboob Haq and many others. And then of course developmental practitioners, social scientists all across the world. Now, as a result of, as a fallout of this revival of developmentalism, we have a good number of institutions across, at the world level and also in many developed and developing countries, like for example, the IMF, the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, ILO, and so many for that, UNESCO. In fact, they have again started reviving their interest in undertaking much more evidence-based research in social sciences. And that has given a scope for researchers all across the world, social scientists, to select topics and to go for that. And to be specific here, it's the very recent emphasis at the world level, on this SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, MDGs, Millennium Development Goals. That has again popularized, I think, research in social sciences. And that's why many of the researchers right now, including government agencies also, have started undertaking more of research in social science. Then the other objective, which I just wanted to tell you, so that if you want to improve the professional, the caliber, the professionalism of researchers all across the world in your developing countries, then it's the emphasis is more on evidence-based research, as I said, and that helps in, I think, keeping the ideological bias to the minimum. So that's another kind of a reason for which we need to undertake research, and our faculty members, in fact, they need to be grounded in that kind of a principle and arrangement. And the last one, which I would like to share with you, and last two, of course, one is many times in developing countries, including our own country, we have all seen that the bureaucrats suffer from a kind of a priori in understanding of development. Now, to undo that and to again reorient them with respect to actual requirements of development, I think you need to undo that kind of a priori understanding of development, and therein comes the role of social scientists in terms of more of research. And that's where, and in any professional development program for faculty members in universities and colleges, I think will be incomplete without giving them in this understanding that they need to undertake more of research in order to overcome the problem of a priori arrangement that dominates, I think, development practice in many of the developing countries, including ours. And with the last one, which I need to, I think, speak about, that's all about the relationship between a structure and, for that matter, agency. I think you see, for a long time, social science research, when it was not that much scaled up, was basically on the structural arrangement. Is it democratic or it's a totalitarian regime and all that? So, it was basically on the structural, arrangement. But subsequently, I think, because of the importance on developmentalism, there is emergence of more of emphasis on what we call today the agency. When I say agency, it's all about the human agency, and then improving, I think, the capability vector of individuals, particularly in terms of capability expansion of individuals and also, for that matter, communities. And that has given rise to a new dimension in social science research. And any professional development course, I think, in social sciences, I think, will be incomplete without giving an understanding about the relationship between structure and agency in social science research. I think with these words, I think I thank Dr. Amar and the Department of Education for organizing this wonderful faculty development program. And I'm sure there are many, I think, research persons lined up to deliver, to interact with all our participants. And I am quite hopeful and convinced that this particular course will be a very smart kind of an arrangement in our university. And also, I think the listeners, the participants who are participating from different universities within the country, and I think all across the world. And that would generate a lot of interest, a lot of debate, a lot of insights, and will be a benchmarked program, I think, for years to come to remember. So with these words, I thank Dr. Amar and the whole education department for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Amar. It's over to you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your international global perspective, industry-driven and evidence-based research from local to global. You are a person of economics, a scholar of economics. You are the right person to see even the COVID-19 pandemic also the face so many challenges. Development is actually a problem, but with the innovative ideas, innovative techniques, we can overcome all these things. Sir, really, we are grateful to you, sir. Now, I will request Professor R.C. Patel, sir, Head Department of Education, Dean, Faculty of Education and Psychology, MSU Baroda. Sir is a member in more than 40, Professor Panda, sir is a member in more than 40 committees all over India, sir. So very busy, but whenever we request from education, especially NEHU, sir never say no. So this one also, I requested a few days back only. Really, we are grateful to you, sir. If you go through sir's CV, it takes more than 1 day to read itself. So many lectures, so many works. So it is my pleasure to invite Professor R.C. Patel, sir, to deliver his special address on classroom management skills, sir. Actually, it is the first step, learning, teaching, research, extension. So the management skills, how to manage classroom in the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm requesting you, sir. Please, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody, and namaskar. Professor Chirapat, Professor Bhagirathi Banda, Professor Binda, Professor Sumo, Professor Nongri, Professor Ivadani, Dr. Gogoi, Dr. Amar, and dear participants. Dr. Amar, am I audible clearly?
Audible, sir, but echo is coming, echoes.
How to take care of echo, I do not know.
Maybe because of network issue only, sir, not from your side.
Okay, fine. And may I also request you to activate my share button? I have made
okay, sir.
Yeah, I have made a small presentation and I will want to share with all of you.
I did, sir. Now you can share, you can present, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir. Make it presentation mode, sir, boss.
Okay, I'll make it in presentation mode.
F5, you can press F5 also, sir. At the
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So once again, good afternoon to all of you. The topic that I have been given, I think 2 days back only by Dr. Amar is classroom management. So considering his request, I have made a small presentation. And because I have some other engagement, I'm sorry, I have altered the program. Professor Sumo, please pardon me. It was your turn. Professor Nongri, it was your turn. But then somehow I have taken your time. So please pardon me.
It's okay, sir. No problem, sir. You can go ahead. Nice hearing from you.
Okay. So in this presentation, in fact, there are 4 major things which I want to cover. Number 1 is the concept of classroom. Then the behavior of students in classroom. Then classroom management, how classroom is to be managed, or what is the concept of classroom management. And towards the end, I'll be talking about 7 to 8 principles that are most important for classroom management. So I begin with what a classroom is. Now, in this presentation, this is largely applicable to the teachers who teach to elementary and secondary school level. But it can also be applicable to higher education level. And Dr. Amar just now requested me to take care of classroom management during pandemic. I think for that I need some other time, or I'll speak on some other time. This is, how to manage classroom, the traditional classroom. So my presentation is on that.
Okay.
And the images I have images I have taken directly from internet. So see, Philip Jackson defines classroom this way. The classroom is a place where students spend most formative period of their life. See, from the age of 4, 5, 6 years up to either 14, 16 or 18 years. And this is the most formative period in the life of any individual. And this period is being spent in the classroom. So this is most important. And perhaps considering this only, in the report of Education Commission, which is popularly known as Kothari Commission Report 1964-66, it begins with the statement, and that is, the destiny of India is being shaped in her classroom. The destiny of entire country is shaped in our classroom, and classroom is a place where they spend most formative period of their life. Comments define classroom this way. It is a place where various activities are going on, interactions take place, and when we talk of interactions, there are largely two types of interaction. One is interaction between the teacher and the students, and then another is interaction among different groups of students. Social situations are enhanced, norms are built up in an interactive situation. And see, this social situation and norms which are built up and which one has experienced during that early formative period of life has impact throughout the life. Whatever we have learned, whatever situation was there in our classroom during our elementary or secondary school days, it really impacts not only our academic achievement, but overall personality throughout the life. John Dewey has defined classroom this way. It consists of those conditions that either promote or prevent. See, we know it all depends on the leadership in the classroom. And leadership is to be exhibited by a teacher. So here, the conditions can either promote or prevent, stimulate or check the characteristic activities of pupils. We know, different types of classroom. There is one classroom where students really feel like coming again and again. There may be another kind of classroom where they are not much interested. Okay. Now we know that classroom is a situation where, as a teacher, you are only one person and there are many in front of you. And we know that because of many who differ in their motivation level, their interest, their skill, their attitude, everything. In fact, we know that when there are 40 students in front of us, all 40 have different interests. Their motivation level is different, energy level is different, their mood is different, everything is different. And as a teacher, as a single person, you have to ensure that all of them change their behavior in a desired positive direction. And see, this is also one situation. There are students who would never exhibit certain behavior if they are alone. But then when they are in group, we do not know anything can happen because we also know crowd psychology. Even, as a most mature person like me and many others who are sitting in this virtual classroom, we know that as an individual, we would not exhibit certain behavior. But if we are in a crowd, there is a tendency that we exhibit behavior that is not acceptable, not desirable, but then still there is a possibility of that. In our classroom also this happens. And see, many of us who have done B.Ed and M.Ed program, I do not have idea about all more than 172 participants. I do not know about their background. But then all those who have done their B.Ed and M.Ed, during your B.Ed program, when you were asked to go to the school and teach, we have seen that if one of them wants to drink water, then other students, then third and fourth, and so many. Whereas some other students also will ask, Madam, can I drink water? Madam, can I drink water? So as an individual, perhaps somebody may not do this. But then in a group, we know that there is a possibility of all kinds of behavior. If you want to, because I do not have much time, so I'll not now take your comments now. Maybe afterwards we can do. Now see, Another most important part is while talking about behavior of students, we also come across misbehavior of students. There are students who throughout their life exhibit excellent behavior. And we normally do not bother about them. We normally do not have to talk about them because they otherwise also are very good students. But then there are also students who somehow do not behave the way society expects them to behave, or either society or as a teacher, I expect that in my classroom there has to be certain kind of behavior. But then there are some students who do not behave in that manner. Now let us try to see some of the major reasons why they do not behave the way we expect them. Some of them are, as a teacher, if I am not able to take care of their interest, they are poor, then obviously, all various kinds of behaviors will be exhibited. Then even they do not know the purpose. They do not know what, as a teacher, you are presenting and how far it is going to be useful to their life. So in that situation also, there is a possibility. Then they do not understand what you are delivering. And many of us have seen. In fact, sometimes even after having experience of 30 to 40 years, we have seen some teachers, after 5, 10, 15 minutes, we start losing our interest. So maybe because of this, there are some more reasons. The instruction is not interesting to them. Even this is also most important. The pace at which we are delivering is inappropriate. Either you are too fast or too slow. And then we know that, as I told you earlier, there are students with differential interest, differential understanding ability, differential motivation level, differential energy level. And hence, as a teacher, you have to adjust your speed of instruction in order to take care of all of them. So had this been a face-to-face situation, I would have been able to see the face of all of you, and accordingly I would have adjusted. But I know that face-to-face is not possible, and in this situation sometimes there is a lag in time also, and that is how normally when it's a virtual classroom, as a teacher you tend to be slower. But then in a real classroom, we know the pace of students, in fact, they convey everything on their face. If they have not been able to understand what you have said, immediately you can see on their face. If what you have taught is within their level, they have understood, they have liked it, you can see smile on their face. But then here in virtual classroom, this is one of the major limitations. Okay, moving ahead, there is not much interaction. Say now also we have started class, I am the third in the row, but then there is no interaction at all. That is the real classroom. We know that this is not the situation. In real classroom, certain researches have proved that after normally 3 minutes, teacher tend to ask a question. Okay, so there's a possibility of interaction, but then here it is not possible. Some more reasons for why students do not behave properly. Okay, one of them is there is no role model. These are in fact at a larger level, commercialization of education, and here I will not discuss about commercialization of education, but we know that this has serious impact on many things. Okay, then this is most important. There is a change in focus from learning to math. See, we all know that we teach in order to bring about desirable changes in the behavior of students. We teach because we want our students to learn. But unfortunately, there has been a shift from learning to math. There's a competition among students, and not in fact among students. I have also seen in this part of the country, there's a competition among parents. In fact, they would say that my son or my daughter has got 99%. They take pride in that. And this, in fact, makes students' tasks more difficult. And then, oh, your daughter has got only 98. My daughter has got 99. Now, there's a difference of only 1 mark, but then that is creating a lot of pressure on the students. So these days we see that there is a total shift from learning to marks, but then we know that the emphasis has to be on learning. I'll not talk about defective or proper system of education in our country, but then maybe as a result of commercialization, what we normally see is there's an overcrowded classroom. And maybe because of overcrowding in the classroom, the possibility of interaction is less and teacher may not be able to pay individual attention. Then some more reasons. The relationship between a student and teacher. Researchers have proved that students tend to like the subject taught by the teacher whom they like. If they do not like R.C. Patel, they will tend to dislike the subjects that I teach. So if there is a proper relationship between student and teacher, things are bound to be better. And even teachers' ability. In our country, in fact, I have not come across many researches, but then still, our general observation is there are many teachers whose ability is under a scanner. When I say ability, largely I talk of three major types of ability. Number one is mastery over the content of the subject which they teach. See, the subject that I teach, I should have mastery. Now, content mastery, I will not elaborate it now, maybe on some other occasion. But then one is, when we talk of ability of teacher, it is the content mastery of teacher. Second, the knowledge and acquisition of pedagogic skill. This is most important. I think maybe during these 21 days, on some other occasion, you will definitely come across various pedagogic skills that are most important to be an effective teacher. So as a teacher, you should have knowledge of these skills. What are the essential skills? And then second is, having knowledge is not important, not enough. You should acquire these skills. For instance, I have knowledge of how to drive a car. I have knowledge, but then I have not acquired the ability to drive a car. I have knowledge of how to swim, but then if I jump into swimming pool, I know what might happen to me. So only knowledge is not important. Along with knowledge, acquisition of this skill is also important. So while talking about teacher's ability, I am talking about the content mastery of teacher, the knowledge and acquisition of pedagogic skill. And third, which is another, which again most important, is certain attributes related to affective domain of teacher. There are many researches which have proved that students like teacher who shows concern for them, who love them, who takes care of the students. So as a teacher, you have to have these three most essential abilities. That is the content mastery. Hello? Is there anything wrong? Shall I continue? Hello?
Sir, I muted all. You can continue, sir. You can continue, sir.
Okay, fine. So I was talking about three most essential abilities of teacher: the content mastery, knowledge and acquisition of pedagogic skill, and then other attributes related to affective domain. Then self-esteem of students. We know that each individual has esteem, and as a teacher, you need to respect them. Forget about legal awareness and degradation of the status of teacher in the society, but then this also may be there. There can be some other which you can add on, but today I'll skip for the want of time. Now, as a teacher, how do you take care of such kind of behavior? There can be two different ways. One is you control them, you check them, make them disciplined. But second is you manage them. It's not controlling their behavior. As a teacher, I do not control classroom. I have to manage classroom. If I have to simply control classroom, I can go with one security person. I can teach, and security person will take care of controlling their behavior. But no, that should not happen. What should happen is, as a teacher, you should manage the classroom. Now, when we talk of management of classroom, there is another small concept of classroom climate. This is also most important. of course, I have made reference of this earlier, but classroom climate is that intellectual, social, and physical environment. These three environment, as I was telling earlier, it affects our entire life. So classroom climate is defined this way. It's an intellectual, social, and physical environment where students can learn by the product of social interactions between and among the student and the teachers. I will skip this slide because there can be two types of classroom climate. Now, then I'll straight away come to the concept of classroom management. Classroom management it's a process of manipulating students' behavior in order to optimize the output and the productive work in the classroom. Now, classroom management refers to those things that a teacher does to organize students, space, time, and the material that is available to a teacher at given point of time. All these are most important. One is the students, and the space, time, and the material. These are some of the factors that affect the classroom management of this classroom management. Certain factors are related to students, certain are related to teachers. Indirectly, I have taken care of them. But this is one which is most important. We know time, and time has to be very effectively managed. Largely because all those who are into the management, they say that time cannot be reversed, time cannot be preserved, time cannot be purchased. Right? So time has to be managed. And there are three, in fact, these barriers also: distance, delay, and then the denial. So as a teacher, the most important thing is all those aspects of management here. That is, you have to plan the time, budgeting of time, identifying the boredom of the students, and accordingly change the methodology or change your behavior. Now, as I told you earlier, towards the end, I'll talk about these 8 principles of classroom management. Okay. Now, these are the 8 principles of classroom management. First, I have already covered earlier while talking about ability of teacher, and that is the principle of clarity and content mastery. Believe me, if you have mastery over content, there will be clarity in your thoughts. There will be clarity in the way you teach. And all those, please remember your classroom situation. The day you do not have content mastery, or there are certain topics for one or the other reason you do not have acquired adequate mastery, you will not have clarity, and on that day you will not feel that you have really taught them. What I normally say that one of the indicators of your proper classroom management is when you come out of the classroom, you should be laughing as a teacher. When you come out of a classroom, you should be laughing. When you will laugh, when you are very happy. Okay, so if you have content mastery, there will be clarity in your thoughts and you will be able to teach them properly. Second is principle of participation and involvement. As a teacher, you will have to ensure that you give opportunity to participate and you involve all the students. I'm sorry, at present I am preaching this, but I am not practicing. I am only preaching that I should involve everybody, but I am not able to involve. This is the limitation because of Corona pandemic. Otherwise, I would have really involved all of you in my classroom. Now, see, participation and involvement as a teacher, what care one should take is, I'll give you a normal example of what happens in a classroom. See, when we ask question, there are some students in our classroom who would always have answers for any kind of question, any level of question you ask them. And then they will raise their hand. Then as a teacher, what happens is, The moment you ask question, you tend to look at those students who normally answer. As a result, there are so many other students in classroom who will not get opportunity. So if any one of you are doing this, please remember that if 40 students are sitting in front of me, I will have to involve all of them. So, give opportunity to different students at different point of time. Principle of warmth and enthusiastic. As I was saying earlier, there are some teachers, who will enter into the classroom as if somebody has pushed them. They are not ready to go to the classroom. That level of enthusiasm is missing. But then if you are enthusiasm, if there is warmth in your behavior, you definitely you'll be able to manage your classroom properly. Principle of action. In classroom, there has to be action, a lot of actions. Principle of, now see, fifth and sixth are contradictory principle. In the fifth, I am saying that there has to be flexibility in the classroom. And in the seventh, Dr. Jyoti Christian, J.A. Christian, has talked about principle of firmness. But then this is contextual. In the particular context, you will have to decide if students do not want to learn and if they simply want to go and play in the ground, no, you may not allow them, you have to be firm. But then at times, depending upon the classroom situation, depending upon the particular context, depending upon what has happened earlier, you have to be flexible also. Say, for instance, now Amar is flexible here. Otherwise, it was Professor Nongbiri and Professor Sumu. But then, flexibly, he has accommodated me. So at times, you have to be flexible also. Principle of adjustment and harmony. Adjustment with everybody. You can't simply say that, no, this is my behavior and I will behave only this way. We know that we have to adjust with students and then they will also reciprocate. Students also will adjust accordingly. And then principle of fostering democratic behavior in a classroom. This will depend on that leadership style. We normally say that, democratic leader, authoritarian leader, laissez-faire leader. These days, we also talk of various other leadership styles like transforming leader and so on. So, depending upon the requirement, one has to be flexible, one has to be firm, one has to adjust with the students, and then so democratic behavior with students. There are so many other slides, Amar, but I think I'll not take much time. These principles I have already talked about. These are, certain other common principles that, make first good impression. Enthusiasm I have already talked about. See, as a teacher, normally what happens is, while we are teaching and if some students are talking, we simply tend to believe that there is some problem there and they are problematic students. But try to understand them. They may be perhaps asking each other what teacher has said. They may not have understood. There may be various other kinds of situations. They may perhaps want to add on to what you have said. So there are several other situations. So please try to understand the student and do not simply label them as problematic students. Fine. I think this slide conveys everything. Power of proximity, body language. In fact, there can be one complete session on communication, both verbal and non-verbal communication. But then we know power of body language, even the posture, the way you sit, the way you stand in a classroom, your movement, gesture, posture, everything is most important. This body language is most important. I think I will end here. There are otherwise so many other things, and I do not know what is your plan. But then, thank you very much for accommodating here. And I am sorry that I am abruptly ending here. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you so much, sir, for your nice and brief presentation on classroom management. Actually, sir is a person of psychology in both education. Sir rightly pointed out, non-verbal communication plays a major role. Sir, recently I read one article, UK based. Your mail conveys only 10% communication, 90% your non-verbal communication, gesture and body language. That is why the management people are giving more importance to the non-verbal communication, especially facial expression and gesture. Really, it is wonderful, sir, but we need some more session, at least in 21 days. If you have any free time, please let us. I'm keeping 10 sessions with me for hands-on activities. I can accommodate 1 hour for you to listen again, sir. Thank you so much. You are in hurry to attend one more meeting. See you soon again, sir. Thank you so much. Now, it is my privilege and happy to invite our own Professor, former Dean, Professor S.M. Sungo, ma'am. Ma'am is very pleasant and nice. Give always morning to evening, just like a Professor R.C. Patel, sir. And ma'am energy is also smiling. So, and a person of multiple intelligence and creativity, personality development, professional development, so many other things.
Enough, Umar.
1 minute, ma'am. Professor R.C. Patel sir suggested me, you have a wonderful professor in NEHU. Why you are searching here and there? So you invite Professor Sundar ma'am as a keynote speaker for all the programs also, no problem. Utilize her service. Really, it is my pleasure, ma'am. Really, I am telling in front of sir. Sir motivated me to utilize your services more. Even though as a colleague I know, but sir knows better than me. So it is your greatness. Now I am requesting you, ma'am, please deliver your keynote speech. And sorry for the not following the protocol. Even I am waiting, asked to Professor Nomri, ma'am, Dean, because of
Amar, I am sorry to interrupt. Professor Sumo, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Amar, I think there is lot of echo. I do not know if you can address to this issue.
Sir, I cannot hear you, you know.
Sir is telling echo, ma'am. Echo, ma'am.
Yeah.
Oh. Even me, what will I do? Matthew?
Ma'am, this is not from our side, ma'am. Actually, this is a network issue, ma'am. They provide a Cisco WebEx,
Yeah.
not from our side.
See, I am going to speak now and it's
Ma'am,
echoing.
voice is audible, sir. Excellent. No echo. Ma'am, your voice is maybe external device you are using. That is good, I think. Good, ma'am. Now you proceed, ma'am.
Okay, then you please present my PPT also, okay? All right, a very good afternoon. Amar, I think I can hear myself echoing. Hello?
This is problem from system, not from our side, ma'am.
Can I leave and then join again?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. I think some of the participants, they registered, entered with 2 devices.
That's why it's a problem. I just leave for a second.
All the participants, those who entered through 2 devices, please log out from one device.
Hello, Amar.
Ma'am, it is audible, ma'am. But echo is.
But I can hear myself, you know.
Ma'am, you remove headphone. You can use computer audio only, ma'am. Now you speak, ma'am.
can you hear me now?
Echo is there, ma'am. Too much echo.
Hello?
Now is it okay, ma'am? Now it is okay, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Now, good afternoon to everyone. Respected Professor Chirapat, guest, who is the chief guest, Professor B. Panda, guest of honor, Professor R.C. Patel, special guest, Professor C. Numbri, Dean School of Education, Dr. N. Reddy, the coordinator, Professor Natali Konwar, the principal of Moran College, Assam, and Dr. S. Gogoi, Moran College. A very good afternoon to all of you, and also a very good afternoon to all the participants. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to participate in this 21st day or 21-day international workshop WP on innovative teachings for professional development of teachers in higher education. I will be, speaking on a brief overview of the professional development of teachers in higher education. And Professor Patel has nicely explained to you the different skills of classroom management. But I'm just going to speak to you about the overall concept of professional development of teachers in higher education. Now, over the past years, educators have had to assume a variety of responsibilities, whether it's trying to teach remotely during a pandemic or navigating discussions on different subjects and issues in their own disciplines. From classroom teaching to video conferencing to online classes and feedback, teachers have adapted to the technological demands of distance learning. However, many had to learn on the job due to lack of training. And while they may be used to it, technology can still be challenging to many of us, especially for those working with the most vulnerable students. And I think even when the pandemic subsides, we do not know when, but many educational institutions, I'm sure, will continue to offer some form of remote learning. And ongoing professional development can address pain points, introduce teachers to more efficient tools, and make technology a welcome enhancement to instruction rather than a hurdle to overcome. This global crisis has also been an extraordinary time for learning. So we are learning as teachers how adaptable and resilient educational systems, policymakers, teachers, students, and even their families can be. It is also essential that educators recognize their unique and influential role in the society by honoring the standards established for their profession. So maintaining this personal relationship at all times is necessary. Teaching is a trusted profession in which society holds to the highest standard as role models. In accepting a position as teachers, many try to measure our achievements by the progress or through the progress of our students. Teachers must be a model with strong character traits such as perseverance, honesty, respect, lawfulness, patience, fairness, responsibility, and unity, and so on and so forth. As a teacher, you must treat every student with kindness, equality, and respect without showing favoritism, prejudice, or partiality. So, as teachers, the moral commitments of a profession that involves moral reflection that extends and enhances the personal morality practitioners bring to their work that concerns actions of right and wrong in the educational institutions. And this will help individuals resolve moral dilemmas they encounter in their work or in their teaching. So in this slide here, you can see the definition of a profession here. Now, this word profession means different things to different people, but as at its core, rather, it's meant to be an indicator of trust and expertise. So, traditionally, a professional is someone who derives their income from their expertise and specific talents, as opposed to a hobbyist or an amateur. But given today's fast-changing environment of knowledge and experience, it is now generally understood that simply deriving an income from a particular task might make you an expert or rather good at your job. But if you're a professional, this has a broader meaning. So in this definition, let us just see what this definition says, because it's very important for us to understand the definition. Here, when you read this definition, you will see that a profession refers to a specialized knowledge, right, with and often long and intensive preparation, including instructional skills and methods, as well as in the scientific, historical, or scholarly principles underlying such skills and methods, maintaining by force of organization or concerted opinion high standards of achievement and conduct, and permitting its members to continued study and to a kind of work which has for its prime purpose the rendering of a public service. And again, if you read the definition given by Merriam-Webster, it says that professionalism as a conduct, aims, or qualities that characterize or mark a profession or a professional person, and it defines a profession as as a calling required specialized knowledge, often long and intensive academic preparation. So here we can see that a profession is also prepared to apply this knowledge and exercise along with the skills in the interest of others. Now to the next slide, slide 4, we will see at the attributes of professionalism. Now, what are these attributes of professionalism? As you have heard from the definition, these definitions imply that professionalism encompasses a number of different attributes, and together these attributes identify and define a professional. So if you consider yourself a professional, just see whether you have these these attributes or not. For example, specialized knowledge, as Professor Patel has clearly mentioned. Specialized knowledge, first and foremost, professionals are known for their specialized knowledge. They have made a deep personal commitment to develop and improve their skills, and where appropriate, they have the degrees and certifications that serves as the foundation of this knowledge. Then we also see competency here. Professionals get the job done. They are reliable and they keep their promises. If circumstances arise that prevent them from delivering on their promises, they manage expectations up front, and they do their best to make the situations right. So professionals usually don't make any excuses, but they try to find solutions to any problem which comes their way. Then we also see honesty and integrity is also another attribute which a professional should have. Professional exhibits this quality, such as honesty and integrity, as you can see here in this slide. They keep their word and they can be trusted implicitly because of this. They never compromise their values and will do the right thing, even when it means taking a harder road. More than this, true professionals are humble in whatever jobs they do, inside or outside their educational institutions. Their scope of expertise, they have a lot of expertise, and they are not afraid to admit it, even though they commit a mistake. So they immediately ask for help if there is a problem or if there is a mistake. So professionals are very humble, and they immediately ask for help when they need it, and they're willing to learn from others. This is a professional. Then we also see accountability here. Now, professionals hold themselves accountable for their thoughts, words, and actions, especially when they've made a mistake, like I said earlier. Now, this, personal accountability is closely tied to honesty and integrity, and its vital elements in professionalism. then we also see self-regulation. They also stay professional under pressure. Genuine professionals show respect for the people around them, no matter what their role or situation. So they exhibit a kind of a high degree of emotional intelligence by considering the emotions and needs of others, and they don't let a bad day impact how they interact with students or colleagues. So this is a professional. Sometimes, when we have some problems at home, or maybe we have, we had some kind of argument before we enter the classroom. So when we enter the classroom, who are affected? It is the students, isn't it? So we have to be very careful with regards to this. We have to, show ourselves that the problems that we are facing does not concern the teaching. I mean, does not affect the teaching in the classroom. Then the image here. Professionals look the part. They don't show up to work sloppily dressed with unkempt hair. They're polished and they dress appropriately for the situation. Because of this, they execute an air of confidence and they gain respect for this. So if we don't dress properly as teachers, students might not really respect us. So we need to dress up in a proper way. Then next slide, you can go to the next slide, Amar. How do we exhibit professionalism? Now, as you can see from these characteristics which I have just mentioned, professionals are the kind of people that others respect and also value. This is why it is important that we work to earn a professional reputation as teachers. How do we exhibit this professionalism? Now, there are strategies which I can tell you that will help us become professional in our teaching jobs. First of all, here you can build expertise. Don't let your knowledge and skills get outdated. This is very important. Make a commitment to build expertise and stay up to date with your discipline or your subject. Develop, as I said earlier, your emotional intelligence. Sometimes it's very difficult to develop this emotional intelligence, but through practice and experience, I'm sure each and every teacher, each and every participant here will be able to develop their emotional intelligence. So professional, can sense the emotional needs of others. They're able to get their students what they need because they know how to listen actively. See, we should be actively listening to what others say and observe what's happening. So if you want to improve your professionalism, focus on developing your emotional intelligence. I stress once again, honor your commitments. Whenever you make a promise to your students or to your colleagues or to your administrators or to the heads of institutions, keep it. You should keep it. If it looks as if you won't be able to meet the deadline, let your students know, your colleagues know, or your administrators know as soon as sensibly possible. However, do what you can to avoid ending up in this situation. Don't make excuses. Instead, focus on meeting expectations as best as you can and on making the situation right. Next, you can see here in the slide, be polite. Be kind and polite and use good manners to everyone you come into contact with, no matter what their role is and no matter how you're feeling. This might sound unimportant, but it makes a significant impact on the people around us, especially on our students. Then the fifth point here talks about tools. Have the tools you need. See, true professionals are always prepared. This requires advanced planning, timeliness, and attention. We need to focus on improving our time management, like what Professor Patel was saying, management and planning skills. These are very important so that you are always on control. You need to be in control of the situation that you're in. Although, professionalism means keeping commitments, doing high quality work, and having expert status, occasionally You know, the pursuits of these attributes might tempt you not to volunteer for certain types of jobs which your administrators or the heads of institutions give to you. You know, you want to fall, you know, sometimes as professionals, we want to fall outside our comfort zone, but this should not happen, okay? However, this doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't try. You need to analyze, you know, the risk beforehand to minimize the consequences of getting things wrong. Be honest about your skills or the any skill gaps that you have, and work to fulfill them. Then do the best you possibly can. Now let us go to the next slide, Amar. Now let us see what are the general characteristics of professionalism. This is very important as teachers. You know, if we know why I'm giving these PowerPoint presentation, it's because for you to be able to, you know, keep this in mind so that you really work towards these aims or these goals. Being a professional in your chosen field means much more than wearing a coat and a tie or possessing a college degree or a master's degree or a PhD, or we can say a noted title. Professionalism also has to do with how you conduct yourself during your teaching, or during your communication with others, or doing your action with others. True professionals possess a number of important characteristics that can apply to virtually any type of situation. Like, for example, I have already mentioned this, but appearance is very important. A professional is neat in appearance. They pay special attention. So pay special attention to your appearance. This is what you can do as professionals. Demeanor. Your demeanor should exude confidence. Be polite and well-spoken, whether you're interacting with students or colleagues or superiors or your heads, right? Heads of institutions. You need to keep yourself very calm, even during tense situations. Are you able to do this? You have to self-evaluate, right? Then we also see reliability. As a professional, you know, you will be counted on to find a way to get the job done. Responding to students or people promptly and following through on promises in a timely manner is also very important, as they demonstrate reliability. Then we also see competence here. Professionals strive to become experts in their field, which sets them apart from the rest of the pack. So this can mean continuing your education by taking courses, attending seminars like this or webinars, and attending any related, professional designations. Then ethics is also a very important factor. Professionals such must adhere to a strict code of ethics. As a teacher, we should display ethical behavior at all times and maintaining our poise. Professionals must maintain her or his poise even when facing a difficult situation. Can you do this? For example, if a colleague or a person treats you in a belligerent manner, you shouldn't resort to the same type of behavior. Then we also have this phone etiquette. Your phone etiquette is also very important. I've seen many people, while they speak to others, they'll be using their phone or looking at the messages and so on and so forth. So, you need to also have you keep this in mind. This means identifying yourself as a good listener. When somebody speaks to you, you should not use your phone, or when you're in a meeting, you should switch it off or put it in silent mode, and do not be disturbed by the messages or by the ringing of your phone. So this is also a very important factor for a professional. Then written correspondence, communication is very important. We need to know how to communicate, and also, we need to also know how to, correspond with others. It can be verbal or it can be in a written form. So this is very important. Then we also require organizational skills. So a professional can quickly and easily find what is needed. So your work area should be neat and organized, and your briefcase should contain only what is needed for your appointment or presentation. Sometimes when we go to a classroom, we deviate from the actual objective or the actual aim of our teaching. So, we need, or when we go for a meeting, we kind of sometimes deviate from the real purpose of the meeting. So we need to also keep in mind the organizational skills, because this is very important. And accountability, professionals are accountable for their actions at all times. If you make a mistake, own up to it and try to fix it as if you have to try to fix it as soon as possible. Don't try to place the blame on a colleague or a student. This blame game is very bad. So if you make a mistake, if there's a mistake, take responsibility and work to resolve the issue. Right? Now you can go to the next slide, Amar. Now let us see what are the different characteristics of a good teacher. Teaching is a hard work, and some teachers never grow to be anything better than mediocre. They do the bare minimum required and very little more. The great teachers, however, they work tirelessly to create a challenging, nurturing environment for their students. So great teaching seems to have less to do with our knowledge and skills than with our attitude towards our students or subjects and work. So a great teacher always respects students. In a great teacher's classroom, each person's ideas and opinions are valued. Students feel safe to express their feelings, and they learn to respect and listen to others. So this teacher creates a kind of a welcoming, learning environment for all students. A great teacher creates a sense of community and belongingness in the classroom. So the mutual respect in this teacher's classroom provides a supportive, collaborative environment. So in this, a small community of classrooms, there are rules to follow and jobs to be done, and each student is aware that he or she is important and he or she is an integral part of the group. So a great teacher leads the students or lets the students know that they can depend not only on the teacher, but they can depend on the entire class. Now a great teacher is warm, accessible, enthusiastic, and also caring. So this person, is approachable, not only to students, but to everyone in the campus. This is the teacher, this is the teacher to whom students know that they can go with any type of problems or concern, or even to share some funny stories. So great teachers, they possess good listening skills and take time out of their way to busy schedules for anyone who needs them. So if a teacher is having a bad day, no one ever knows. The teacher leaves personal baggage outside the school doors. A great teacher sets high expectations for all students. So this teacher realizes that the expectations she has for her students greatly affect their achievement. She knows, that students generally give to teachers as much or as little as is expected of them. So a great teacher has his or her own love of learning, and what do? They inspire students with their passion for education and also the course material. They constantly renew themselves as professionals on their quest to provide students, with the highest quality of education possible. So this teacher has no fear of learning new teaching strategies or incorporating new technologies in lessons, and always seems to be the one who is willing to share what he or she has learned with the colleagues. And a great teacher is also a skilled leader. Different from administrative leaders, effective teachers focus on shared decisions on teamwork as well as community building. So this great teacher, they convey this sense of leadership to students by providing opportunities to assume leadership roles. Then, a great teacher can shift gears and is flexible. Professor Patel has talked about the principle of flexibility. Flexibility is a very important factor, and flexibility always works in the classroom, even in the online classes. This teacher assesses his or her teaching throughout the lessons and find new ways to present materials to make sure that every students understand the key concept. Because in the classroom we have a variety of students with different abilities, so a teacher must be able to address the abilities of her or his students inside the classroom. So a great teacher maintains this kind of professionalism in all areas, from personal appearance to organizational skills and preparedness for each day. The communication skills are also, or should be rather, exemplary, whether he or she is speaking with an administrator, or whether it's one with us or his student or with a colleague. So the respect that this great teacher receives because of his or her professional manner is obvious to those around her or him. So while teaching is a gift that seems to come quite naturally to some, others have worked over time to achieve, the great teacher's status. Yet the payoff is enormous for both you and your students. Imagine students thinking of you when they remember that great teacher they had in their college life, or maybe even in the school life. All right, you can go to the next. Now let us see some of the characteristics of teaching as a profession. Now let us see the characteristics of teaching as a profession. Now it essentially involves an intellectual operation, right? Since teaching involves arousal of interest in teaching and learning process, it requires an intellectual kind of an operation. So the teacher evolves a kind of a suitable plan of action to carry out teaching, by creating a conducive and supportive learning environment to achieve this pre-specified objectives, bringing these desirable changes in behavior of the learner. All the above are intellectual operations on the part of the teacher. Therefore teaching is essentially an intellectual operation and exercise. Now we can see this has been recommended even by the NEP 2020. Now it draws materials from the spectrum of science. Science can help a teacher in various ways. Teaching is not only an art, but also we can say it is a science. As an art, it propels teachers to acquire some skills, which are called tricks of the trade. As such, a teacher needs to be trained properly in order to achieve some objectives. From the standpoint of science, it goes through certain steps which are followed in training of a teacher. He or she is well versed with the steps of teaching, which go in a systematic way. Therefore, teaching is not a haphazard affair. It requires proper planning to reach the goal, and its goal is directed process. Now, thirdly, it transforms raw materials into a practical and definite end. Learners are prospective raw materials in teaching profession. They are prepared to teach with efficiency and effectiveness for the larger interests of the society, which has varied expectations. So they train into a practical and definite end by means of providing right knowledge and practical training in teaching and other pedagogical courses. Then it also possesses an educationally communicable technique. Important characteristics of teaching as a profession is its nature of science. So as teaching is a science, teaching techniques are systematic and have certain steps to be followed. So it is easily communicable and it has a very wide application. It tends towards self-organization. It demands sensitivity of personal involvement in teaching activities towards growth and development of the profession. So, they are self-organized by evolving a definite mechanism to sustain and promote the standards of teaching profession. It is basically performed as a social service. All right. So a nation or a society marches forward on the track of development if teachers, serve in a better manner to affect changes in various ways. So teaching kind of infuses a sense of services or service in the minds of teachers, because teaching is essentially a social service. Self-interest precedes giving way to general interest. So it accords, a kind of a high premium on social service, and that's the crux of the profession. It has a lengthy period of study and training. Now, especially with the NEP 2020, we can see that, we also have a 4-year integrated B.Ed program. So this will be a very lengthy period if we really want to become a teacher. According to the NEP 2020, teachers will have to go through a vigorous kind of a training. So this is a chief characteristic of teaching. If it is considered as a profession, it requires a lengthy period of study and training. In other words, a person willing to take up this profession has to study for a number of years and acquire mastery over the contents of the subject matter. So after this, he or she has to pursue training in teaching skills and other methods. Now you can go to the next slide, Amar. It is a high degree of autonomy. It has rather a high degree of autonomy. So when we talk about autonomy, autonomy is free from any form of intervention. Any form of intervention in teaching activities is not, grouped right from planning to activities, identifying instructional objectives, developing the curriculum, transacting the curriculum, evaluating students' performance, framing of admissions and promotion rules to organization of co-curricular activities. Teaching again is based upon a systematic body of knowledge. We always emphasize that as teachers. Knowledge springs from different layers and spheres of life: social, political, historical, psychological, economical, cultural, religious, etc. Teaching as a profession is based upon systematic body of knowledge emanated from different spheres of human life and activities. And we can also see hands-on classroom strategies. If professional development is struck at only delivering basic ideas, concepts for consumption, it is not going to help. Teachers need to apply that learning to their work, which can help them make meaning. Teaching should be moved from consumption to creation and contribution at the start, so that students can contextualize their thinking process and also strategies as they may apply in their classrooms. Now, it has a very common code of ethics, and I'm sure all the teachers know what the code of ethics is. Teaching profession has a common code of ethics which can guide the behavior and the conduct of teachers in their institute and also outside. So a code of professional ethics is a charter of rights and duties for the protection of professional autonomy and freedom. This can ensure development of high degree of recognition, regard, and social status of profession, so that true professionalism emerges in the long run. So profession is also highly interactive. Amar, I think somebody is and dialogue, mixing that with things that do not get them involved in, let's say, a gallery walk or a sizzle game where teachers practice the 4 C's. You know what the 4 C's are? I'm sure you know: communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. These are the 4 C's that can help you to interact with your students, help them develop these skills which are very important in their lives. And lastly, it generates in-service growth. So in teaching profession, a teacher always learns all the stages of teaching. Learning does not stop. It always continues. An ordinary literary genius, R.M. Tagore, says, a lamp can never light another lamp unless it continues to burn its own flame. A teacher can never truly teach unless he is still learning. So here we can see that the teacher has to be engaged in self-study, and also he or she has to carry on self-learning in order to keep himself or herself abreast with the latest trends in his or her subject. So this, aspect is emphasized in teaching profession, which will ultimately lead to growth of teacher while in service. Now let's go to the next slide. Slide 10. Now let us see what are these innovative methods of teaching strategies. I'm sure you're discussing these in the 21-day programs. I'm going to give you a kind of an overview on the innovative methods of teaching strategies that we can make use of inside the classroom. Now, some of our most inspiring and unforgettable movies are of teachers and professors who use innovative methods of teaching to reach out to the minds of students and win the hearts of the audience while doing so. Well, a few years ago, one would only see such innovative and effective teaching on the screen. Today, we can see technology has given teachers across the world a number of tools, a number of apps to enhance teaching methods, and I'm sure you're experiencing it during this pandemic now. So innovative learning is the process of creating a kind of an atmosphere where students learn about new things regularly, question them, and think of new ideas on their own. Let us see some of the strategies. Crossover teaching. What is this actually? While this form of teaching does not include technology, it is an enriching experience for students as well as for faculty. Here, the learning happens in an informal setting, such as after-school learning clubs or trips to museum and exhibition. So here, a teacher can link the educational content with the experiences that students have. So this teaching is further enhanced and deepened by adding questions related to the subject. So the students can add to the classroom discussion through field trip notes, photographic projects, and other group assignments, related to the trip. Then we also have teaching through smart boards. I'm sure many of you know what smart boards are. Smart boards are an effective way to bring the classroom to life, while helping students experience a deeper level of engagement and understanding. So, this is done by making the course content interactive and visual. So these smart boards transforms the teaching experience into kind of an interactive and collaborative experience as teachers use, multi-media content to help convey the topic more effectively to students and making it visual or engaging, visual, and also giving them an engaging experience. Then teaching through flipping classrooms. In this strategy, class time is inverted to traditional lectures and fosters inquiry, application, and assessment to better engage individual learners and their needs. So, students study materials outside of class by reading, watching short, pre-recorded video lectures, or researching assignments. So this class time is used to help students work through the materials in the group or individually, or active learning with an emphasis on higher order thinking skills and application of complex problems. So flipping the classroom is becoming an increasingly popular effective teaching method. In this technique, the students are made active participants of learning process by passing the onus of learning on them. So it requires the teachers to kind of regulate to the role of research providers, and the students take the responsibility of gathering concept informations. So using various tools of technology, the students are encouraged to construct knowledge, fill in information gaps, and also make inferences on their own and when needed. So, while many may question if giving students the responsibility of learning, it has been seen that teachers across the world, that when put in charge of their learning, they immerse themselves more in the subject, taking more interest and learning better. Then another strategy is inquiry-based learning. Inquiry-based learning is also very powerful. It's a powerful, strategy that triggers students' curiosity. So this, allows students to formulate their own understanding based on research and questions. So here, students get an opportunity to present what they have learned to the group, and they can reflect on what was successful, and what needed more attention. Teaching through collaboration is also another aspect. While many questions, if given, students take the responsibility of learning through different, through different means. It has been seen by teachers across the world that when we put in charge of their own learning, they tend to collaborate with their friends. They collaborate with many of the people or the experts who are in that field. So this collaboration is very important. And teaching through virtual reality is also very important, and we are using most of it now. So this virtual reality technology involves students learn through interactions. And when we talk about virtual reality technology, it offers students a valuable kind of opportunity to learn in such a way so that they can use their minds, use their mental powers, use their reflective thinking, use their high creative thinking powers in order to evolve a kind of a knowledge which will be helpful for them. Then we can also see, teaching through 3D printing technology. Now here, teachers are looking for innovative methods of teaching, and they can also look at the 3D printing as a means of teaching. So this method is fast gaining globally, and many have accepted this. These 3D printers are used to they are used to create some kind of prototypes and make complex concepts easy to understand. In the lower level classroom, this is often used. And we can also see teaching through cloud computing. I'm sure all of you know what this is. Now, this technology also can be brought into the classroom, and it can allow educators to experiment with innovative methods of teaching. Then we also have technology and innovative methods. Technology has brought in a lot of innovative methods. We also can see learning by gamification. Gamification is also becoming a huge popular way to incorporate more fun and play into the and play into perhaps more difficult subjects. Then we also have the QR codes. Now this is refers to the quick response codes. This allows students to access information or interact with lectures by scanning the code of their mobile phones or digital devices. So the OR codes are easy to create and have multiple applications, such as checking answers, voting during class discussions, supplementing textbooks information, getting survey data, assessing video tutorials, and so on and so forth. Then we also have the personalized learning. Now we have this personalized learning. It covers everything from the choice of institution to the method and the mode of learning. So we have the blended learning. We also have the adaptive learning. We also have this project-based learning. This develops, a kind of a deeper learning competency among students throughout their studies and careers. Then we also have jigsaws. This is a tried and trusted cooperative learning technique that allows students to create their own learning. So here, students are divided into groups, and each group is given different pieces of information, and they will learn sufficiently to teach one another in the group. So this jigsaw method is also very interesting. And therefore, You can go to the last slide. I think I just want to show you some of the types of teaching methods. Now, these are the types of teaching methods that can be used in or that can be remembered, or they can help you to become a professional teacher. Now, we have instructor teacher centered methods. Here, teacher is the center, and he plays a very important role. Then we also have the learner centered method. Here, the learners are more active, right? The content focused methods. Here in this, you can see that this is a very important method, because each teacher, to become a professional, needs to master his or her own subject. So once the mastery is done, then they will be able to filter out what are the important points that needs to be taught inside the classroom in their subject, or in their areas of expertise, or in particular the subject concern. And lastly, the interactive participative method. This is also a very important factor. This is the fourth category, which borrows a bit from the three other methods which we have seen here, without necessarily laying emphasis unduly on either the learner or the content or the teacher. So these methods are driven by situational analysis of what is the most important thing for us to learn, do now, given the situation of the learners and the teachers. So this requires a participatory understanding of varied domains and also factors. So these are some of the points which I want to share, which relates to professional development. And I'm sure that this 21-day course which you are going to have will give you more experience, or will give you more information with regards to becoming a good professional teacher, because we all know that teaching is a profession. So unless we are aware on the different nitty-gritties of, or importance of teaching, or importance of becoming a professional, I think the success, we will not be satisfied with what we do. So the success will come only when we understand what professionalism is. Thank you. And I think I will end here. I hope that the deliberations that we've had is effective. Thank you so much. Over to you, Amar.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. If you see the chart box, 1 minute, ma'am. Yeah, if you see the chart box, all participants are, and even YouTube also, I'm seeing excellent information, very useful information. By seeing the slides, it shows how much time you spent, ma'am. Really, I think your personal time also you spent for your professional purpose. According to the learning theories, what gives single meaning, image gives 1,000 meanings, video gives million meanings. So your each slides provided more than 1,000 types of meanings, ma'am. Really, we are grateful to you, and it showed how much importance for teaching and your dedication towards teaching and learning. Because senior most teacher, even though you are learning always, this is the special characteristics of a teacher. That is why whenever I am very active in NEHU, North Eastern Hill University Teachers Association, they're always telling, even Professor Brinda ma'am also mentioned, Professor Sunga ma'am, many places they are calling and they are recalling. So really we are grateful to you. I am blessed. It is my honor being a colleague of you, ma'am. This is time to just 1 minute, only one take, I will 1 minute, how the professional development ma'am gives importance. I joined Northeastern Hill University on April 25th, 2013. Ma'am was HOD that time. Ma'am simply handed over her chamber. That's now where ma'am is sitting, handed over her key, and you can utilize, because I'm newly appointed, no system. It shows how much, even there is so much confidential information reports also. But ma'am given more importance, and I am the only teacher in NEHU. After joining, within 1 month, I went for professional development to attend orientation program in hometown Sri Venkateswara University. In general, probationary period, no one will allow. Ma'am is always out of the box. Really, she helped me a lot. Thank you very much. This is the only few examples to show ma'am her cooperation and coordination for professional development of teachers. Under Pandit Madan Mohan Malaviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching, ma'am is a convener. We organized more than 50 programs. Even myself, I organized within 1 year 11 programs with the help of Moran College and others. Thank you, ma'am. We are grateful to you. I will request even seniors, and God, I'm praying God to bless you, and we'll see you in good position for the benefit of academia, ma'am. Thank you so much. Now, I'm requesting Dr. Srutaswini Gogoi, ma'am, to request to say about maybe ma'am is okay because of technical reasons. Principal ma'am is not able to join. Okay, I'm requesting our honorable Dean ma'am and the EC executive member, North Eastern Hill University, and the presidents of the today's function. I'm extremely sorry because of the protocol. I supposed to call ma'am at the beginning, but because of the senior most teacher, 82 years and other things, I felt ma'am is always supporting me. But in future programs, I will take your concern before going to offer ma'am. Now I'm requesting our Professor Nomri ma'am to deliver her, even it's a time to give presidential remarks, but I'm asking her to deliver both the presidential address and remarks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Amar, for this opportunity to be together in this program. In fact, I should say that being the president of the program, I love watching how the program goes. It is not a matter of being in the beginning or at the end. It is always good to be, in the whole program. I have enjoyed so much the program, and thank you so much for the opportunity. So let me just mention about, Professor Chirapat, the chief guest of this session, Professor Panda, the guest of honor, Professor Asi Patel, the special guest, Professor SM Sumo, our very own, who is also the keynote speakers. I think the keynote address that Madam has given is, really give a good start to this 21-day program. And then Professor Mitali Konwar, the principal of MORAN College, Professor Brenda Besri Harbirambai, the in-charge head, Professor ICM, who is not in the department, who is on leave, Dr. Kukoi, and importantly, Dr. Amar, who is the coordinator of this program. I think everyone I don't want to dilute anything that has been spoken by Madam, but just to conclude, on a general note, from the point of view that Madam has not touched, that is as we begin to emerge as from COVID-19, it is important to recognize the major changes undertaken by teachers, schools, districts, and the country as a whole, and the new ideas and practices that have or might still emerge. Educators switch fast to 100% online instruction, and then soon will shift again to simultaneously teach students face-to-face and online. And just as it is important to plan for students who have fallen behind with their learning, we must also seize the moment to identify and learn from new and innovative practices that have emerged as a result of the pandemic. Further, it is essential to consider what we have learned about school and teacher change. After reflecting on the last year, the following 3 themes stand out: the importance of teacher collaboration, teachers' ability to radically alter their practices, and teachers' ability to innovate. collaboration across schools, and the use of creative and innovative programs and practices have promised for a new direction for school and college improvement. As with any change, and particular change forced on teachers and school by a pandemic, there are innovations that worked and gaps that have been exposed. At a minimum, there is likely to be an increased integration of technology in teaching and learning as teachers has become more comfortable and adept in using technology. And with that has also come the recognition that students' access to device and Wi-Fi is no longer optional but essential. There have been big pictures changes with teachers and schools finding new ways to include social and emotional learning, examples of improved communication with parents, teachers re-evaluating what is essential content, and with the easing of standardized testing, teachers creating more meaningful assessment of learning. The pandemic has demonstrated teachers' talent to transform teaching and learning. Many teachers are proud and energized by what they accomplish. Teachers see themselves as having grown and become better educators. It is therefore vital that we consider how to keep this spirit of creativity and innovation alive. However, these positive feelings of self-worth in the classroom have to be seen in the larger context in which some teachers felt unsupported throughout the pandemic. The increased demands on teachers during the pandemic will likely result in more teachers leaving the profession. Thus, we must create a work culture and recognize teachers' achievements, values teachers' professional expertise, and support the development of new and innovative practices. In education, innovation can appear as a new pedagogic theory, methodological approach, teaching techniques, instructional tools, learning process, or institutional structure that, when implemented, produce a significant change in teaching and learning, which leads to better students' learning. So innovations in education are intended to raise productivity and efficiency of learning and or improve learning quality. For example, Swayam and MOOCs have opened new, practically unlimited opportunities for massive, more efficient learning. Innovation can be directed towards progress in one, several, or all aspects of the educational system, theory and practice, curriculum, teaching and learning, policy, technology, institutions and administrations, institutional culture and teacher education. It can be applied in any aspect of education that can make a positive impact on learning and learners. Therefore, one would expect that professional development would be spread to cover diverse needs of teacher. For example, new technology for facilitating learning, what it means to be a reflective practitioner and teaching large classes. This is particularly important for teaching the current students at higher education level because they think and process information differently due to the advent of digital technologies. The implication is that more innovative teaching and learning strategies, including computer-based teaching, the internet and World Wide Web, which incorporate the principles of adult learning, learning-centered teaching approaches, problem-based learning, and work-integrated learning should be applied in teaching them. The NEP 2020 also definitely aims at ways of relearning for students under the modern age of education, inclusive of teachers' well-being by setting up the new high professional benchmark. I have just want to make a mention of those innovative teaching strategies which Professor Sumo has mentioned. Earlier on, Professor R.C. Patel also has mentioned about, the classroom management and how the effective teacher can manage in a classroom but not control. So this is particularly very important because we know that to be after the pandemic, when the teachers has to meet the students in the classroom, this is really very important to have a knowledge on. The some of the innovative practices which I just made a mention where Professor Sumo, some of which Professor Sumo had already give in detail, are those crossover teaching, teaching through smart boards, teaching through flipping classrooms, teaching through collaboration, teaching through virtual reality, teaching through 3D printing technology, teaching through cloud computing technology, and innovative methods of teaching. These are all the innovative practices which teachers can use after the pandemic, when they have to use blended learning, where the teachers can still continue to teach online and offline at the same time. Besides those which Madam has also mentioned, and Professor Bibi Kharbe Rambai has also mentioned, the competency-based classroom, faculty collaboration curriculum, open course, effective digital textbooks, the data analytic, free tuition, virtual reality, smarter classroom, artificial intelligence, gaming techniques, new pedagogy. These are, things have changed to bring about the faculty development program. So I feel it is really a challenge for the teacher education institutions to have to help the professional development of teachers to cater to the needs of the present demands of the students. This is really very important, that has to be touched upon. So I won't touch the professional development of all of which Madam has detailed out very comprehensively, the characteristics of the professionals, the characteristic of great teachers, which through this deliberation which I think we have in the first day itself, is really very, very important. I should thank Dr. Amar for this very important program that you have organized, and special thank I think goes to the participants, to the extent that there are some participants who call even before the programs, requesting for the link which they didn't receive, which I'm really very sorry I couldn't provide them that link. in spite of the fact that we sent, she said she cannot join. So this is a big thank you to all the participants, and I hope you, from the day one, you have learned many things today, and we will, I hope you will also enjoy the program in the next 21 days. Thank you once again, Dr. Amar, for making me the president of this important, very important program and the events that will, I think, benefit to not only to the people in the Northeast and also beyond the Northeast. Thank you so much once again. And
Thank you so much.
very good evening to everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Actually, ma'am delivered very nice and respect COVID-19 pandemic by keeping. Ma'am is very simple. You can see ma'am is dean and EC member also, but never feel always approachable. Even in general, other universities, they never get that type of freedom. I can say we are free birds. This is excellent character of the NEHU. We are working and there is no comparison of assistant professor, associate professor, professor. They have that feeling of before coming they say good morning, and before leaving they say bye bye. Even I feel very shy, ma'am, because I came from the type of culture we never say bye to our own family members also. Till date I never wished a happy birthday to my family members, but here after coming I little bit changed by myself. This is because of our own department and the second family to me. Thank you so much for your nice and brief speech with respect to professional development and COVID-19 pandemic. Now I am requesting Dr. Srotaswini Gogoi Madam from Moran College, another coordinator. Because of her only we invited international resource persons here, and Professor Chirapat sir and some other resource person from China and Ethiopia, some more other countries also. Now it's over to you, ma'am. Srotaswini, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving me the opportunity to offer a vote of thanks on behalf of the organizing team. We would not be here without the generosity of ICSSR-NERC NEHU. So first and foremost, I would like to extend my gratitude to Professor Bhagirathi Panda sir, Honorary Director of ICSSR-NERC NEHU, for sponsoring and giving us the opportunity to organize this great event. Thank you so much, sir, for the very informative speech of guest of honor. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Professor Sirapat Pravin sir for accepting our invitation. We are honored to have you as the chief guest for the inaugural Come Day One program. At the age of 83, you are showing your interest to share knowledge with us, especially the Indo-Thai relation. Thank you so much, sir. I would like to offer my gratitude to Professor R.C. Patel, sir, Head and Dean, Faculty of Education and Psychology, MS University, Vadodara, for spending your valuable time with us and telling us and letting us know the classroom management skills for effective teaching and student psychology. Thank you so much, sir. I would like to extend heartfelt thanks to Professor S.M. Sungo ma'am for the excellent keynote address focusing on professional development of teachers. Ma'am is really a very wonderful, dynamic, and very active academician. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving your valuable time and joining us today to be a part of this inaugural session, Come Day One program of this 21 days International Workshop Camp activity. I am expressing my gratitude to Professor C. Nongli ma'am, who is the president of inaugural session, Come This Day One program. She is the Dean School of Education, Shillong, Meghalaya. I am thankful to you for your support and spending your precious time amidst your busy schedule. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable presidential address. I am expressing my gratitude to Professor Brinda ma'am, Department of Education, NEHU, Shillong, for your very informative and encouraging welcome address. Thank you so much, ma'am. I offer my heartfelt gratitude to Principal of Moran College, Dr. Mitali Kumar, for supporting and encouraging us for this collaboration. Thank you so much, ma'am. Last but not the least, I would like to offer my best regards and gratitude to all the resource persons, participants from various universities and colleges of India and abroad for giving your valuable time. This event would be impossible without you. Your graceful presence and active interaction. So we are expecting your presence and active interaction in our coming sessions. Once again, thank you all, and special thanks to Dr. Anna Reddy sir for every pain you have taken to organize this international workshop come FTP faculty development program. Hope this workshop come FTP will be productive, helpful, and will worth your precious time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Swatasini Gogoi, madam, for your wonderful vote of thanks and heart-touching vote of thanks. Tomorrow, 2 more sessions. So first session will be delivered by Dr. Jyoti Madam, D. Jyoti, from National Sanskrit University, Tirupati, Role of Yoga in Professional Excellence. And the second session by Professor Chennaya sir, Identification of Problem and Innovative Philosophical Solutions. So here sir will deliver only 15 minutes and the remaining 45 minutes question and answer. The participants, I'm requesting, please come with your own problems, research related, personal related, professional related problems. Sir will give innovative solution for all your queries. Now I am requesting Professor Nombri ma'am, Dean and President of the today's function, to declare the program is over. Nombri ma'am.
Okay. Once again, it's a very enriching experience we have had in this session. I wish all the resource person and the participant all the best for the next 20 days. And I declare this as inaugural session close. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, madam.
So you will get your certificate at 7 p.m. today itself immediately. Thank you.